Lakeland PBS presents Common Ground, brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota. Production funding of Common Ground is made possible in part by First National Bank Bemidji, continuing their second century of service to the community. Member FDIC. Closed captioning is made possible by Bemidji Regional Airport, serving the region with daily flights to Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. More information available at bemidjiairport.org. Welcome to Common Ground. I'm producer-director Scott Knudsen. In this two-segment episode, Janet Almquist of Brainerd demonstrates the Scandinavian art of Rosemaling. Then, we revisit Itasca State Park for a fly fishing class.
Rosemaling is rose painting. Maling is painting in Norwegian or Swede, either one. So someday when you're sitting home painting your house and someone calls and says, "Hey bro, what are you doing?" Say, "I'm maling." And they're gonna say, "You're what?" Because that's painting in Norwegian. So what I am doing, I'm painting flowers. Anybody that's a Scandinavian though would like to do what I'm doing because it's part of your history. And I started painting probably 25 years ago when I had a table like this and we put a table skirt on because underneath everybody put all their boxes. This is for a Heritage Fest. And I thought, well, we can't have that. So I put the table skirt on, it looked kind of plain, so I did some scrolls and some flowers. And everybody came up and said, "Where did you get that tablecloth?" And it was so much, they were more interested in that than they were the baked goods. So I thought, you know, if they think that's good, maybe I should start painting. And I started painting, and now 25 some years later, I'm still painting. So many years ago, when the Vikings were going all over Europe and down in that area, they would see all the beautiful artwork done there. The big columns that were on the big buildings, and it's called Arcanthus or Rococo, and that's what all the scrolls. If you look on a dollar bill, you'll see some on a dollar bill. They did more than just plunder. Once they got back into Norway and Sweden, they went to their own region and painted what they remembered. Different regions have different styles. Rosemaling starts with a lot of C's and S's, and everybody can do a C. You learned how to do that in grade school, and everybody can do an S. So that's what we do. We have a scroll here, and we have flowers, and that's what we do. And I think I need some white, and we'll do this a good way here. I'll put some white on here. I'm going to what we call a double load. I'm going to run my brush through here, and then I'm going to run it through the green. And I'm going to decide where I'd like the highlights. So if you want the highlights on top of your scroll or bottom, it doesn't matter. It's all up after you start painting. You'll know what you want to do. And I'm going to do these on the top. So I'm going to come around here and come up here. Come around and turn. And I didn't get any white. It didn't want to come on here, so we'll just keep going because you don't really make mistakes. You just fix them. Fix them the way you like. So I'll just look at it and come around again. And again, we've got one up here, and I'm going to bring my brush around and come here and here. And I have a scroll. That's just how simple it is. And we'll get another little green. I need this over here though. This is telemark is what I'm doing. We'll come around here again. Flatten this out as I come up, and I'll come in here and here. Get the white where it belongs. Normally you want to hold it this way because you have more balance. The one arm on top of the other one, and that's another hard thing to do. I'm always telling people, now stop that. Now let's start all over again and put your hand up, because then you'll be able to pull some of your colors where you want. You have more freedom that way. And after you've painted a while, then you'll decide whether you like to paint coming towards you or going away from you, where you bring your strokes. Let's see if I got oh, here we got some more here. So let's get a little more paint. Take a little off. When you start out, you want to do a lot of practicing. I always say it's 10% talent, 90% practice, and you have to practice a lot just to know how to load your brush. Anybody can do this. Like I said, though, it takes a little practice, and all you do is practice. I always tell my students to paint a piece of cardboard. This is back of a cereal box, and then I just paint it. That way you can tell if you like the colors or not. Because some colors just don't look good. So you want to make sure that you like that, and that'll give you something to work with. Otherwise you're kind of working at it blind, and then you're not too happy when you get through. We'll do some flowers. You have to sit and do it for a while to just decide, yes, I can do that. Oh, heck, is that all that is? That's really fun. I can do that. And that's what I did. I just always felt, no, I'm just not a painter. I don't know what to do. Well, you just go and keep doing it, and eventually you'll be just as good as anybody else. There's about 4 different brushes that are nice to use. And the best thing to do is always buy good brushes. Don't buy any cheap ones, because then you're going to decide you can't paint. It just doesn't work. You have to have a good brush. You don't need a lot of paint. Not something that's bright yellows and blues and greens on here, because that's not really Scandinavian. I'm using Norwegian green, and I'm using red iron oxide and white. And that's what I'm getting on the whole. And I'll use some green for leaves. Basically, you only need a few. And it's like primary colors. They say if you have the primary colors, that's all you need, because you mix them. Well, it's the same thing with this. And then I always put my paint in on a flat thing, because you run your brush this way through it. If you go this way, you're going to paint the whole thing. I just want half of my brush with one color, and then you can blend them together. Works good. Rosemaling started out with all men. The men were the Vikings, and they were supposedly all these strong, winning over the world. They're the ones who brought Rosemaling up into Norway and Sweden, the Scandinavian countries. Very few women Rosemaled way back when Rosemaling was done. They did a whole room, churches over there, and I've seen 2 or 3 of them. They're beautiful. The ceilings are all done. Everything is Rosemaled, because they had dark homes and they wanted to brighten them up. So they started putting their painting on the walls. They painted their cupboards, they painted their chairs and their table. Upstairs, my kitchen chairs are painted Rosemaled. They brightened up their houses that way. Maybe they had a few women in later years, but when they came over here, some of the women started doing it. So now it is mainly women who do it, but there are men who are really good. Once again, I'm going to just run through here on my white, and I'll go through the green and give it a couple little whippies here to blend it in. I got it right here. I'll do these. I just did a base coat. I give it one coat, I lightly sand it, put another coat on, and then I sand it again with very fine sandpaper or paper brown bag or something. And the back is just painted black. And if you could see this, all of this I can wipe off because I put varnish or shellac or some kind of polyurethane. And then I can just wipe it off when I'm done, because you always end up getting paint on the back where you didn't want it. So then I can just clean that up. So, but I can use a charcoal pencil, and I can just draw my pattern on, because that will draw. Or I can use, well, I call it transfer paper, but it's just transfer paper that you lay down. So you take a finer, thinner piece of paper like this. Get you one here from behind. You put this on and you're very careful, and you tape it down so this piece stays down where you wanted it. And you can copy patterns, and I suggest people do that when they first start, because it's easier. Once you get it on, you know how to color. You sat with crayons when you were young. Well, that's what you do. And it's a good way to even learn colors that you like, is get the crayons out and color. It can be as simple as you want it to be. I can give you an example by doing it. I'm going to come around like that. Well, no. Oh, I guess maybe I'm going to make this another one. And I'll come up here, and I'll come here. And then I'm going to come like this and go up here, and here's my S backwards, but I made an S up here. Now I'm going to come up this way, and maybe I'll make another S. And now I'm going to make a few little cute lines here. And let's make another C over here. That's how you learn. Well, maybe I'm going to put a few flowers here. So now I'm just going to practice. Oh, I really don't like that. I should put some color in with that, shouldn't I? Maybe just a little, and I'll put a little touch of color here and there. And you don't have to think about it. Oh, let's put some little flowers here. Sometimes I do, when I'm doing it this way, I just put it on and I twist my brush. I can make a circle by standing my brush straight up and turning like this. So it's just, you just learn all this stuff. And it's just, I can make one even bigger here, because now I've got, and I'll make a tiny one right here. So we got that dropping down from there. And then if I wanted, I could just hook all these together and get down here, and I did that kind of cute thing, and what did it take me, 5 minutes? And it's not even good, it's just done. And I can go back and touch this up, and I can use a liner, which I haven't got that far yet. Let's see, here's one. Yeah, that'll work. Let's use some white. I can do like this. Join that together and think, oh, that's kind of a cute vase. Maybe I'll just put some flowers up there. And I just will touch this and make a few little flowers. I always only do 3, 5, 6, or 7. Don't ever make them even. And then I can bring this down here. Maybe we've got a glass vase there, so we'll just do it all the way down. So there you go. And you could spend another hour on here and make it really look nice, but this is just what you do to practice. Oh, well, that's simple. I can do that. I can make commas, I can make S's, I can make C's. So you just sit down and play and have fun. So it's just a fun thing to keep you busy when you don't know what to do, when it's raining outside or it's snowing too much. You just want to sit here and pass the time away by painting. You can Rosemall on anything, absolutely anything. I saw a picture of a computer screen, and no, it wasn't a screen, it was the computer when we had the big ones. And the whole thing was Rosemalled. People Rosemall on their shoes, they Rosemall on purses, they Rosemall. You can order a pattern to Rosemall your KitchenAid mixer. And I thought, well, you should do that. Well, why just sit down and paint on it? Well, it's blue, kind of a darker blue. And so I could do it all white. And I thought, well, that'd be kind of pretty. Well, I haven't done it yet. Most people do plates, bowls, things to hang on the wall. I've painted sweatshirts, t-shirts. You can paint clothes. It's a fun thing to do, look around and, well, if you saw some of my cubby holes here, you'd know that I got stuff needs to be painted. That's anything you want to paint on, just have fun with them. Paint Christmas ornaments, paint Easter stuff. Just anything you want to do so that you can put them all over your house and give them as gifts. And this is a root, and when you're doing telemark, this type of Rosemalling, everything comes out from the root. Your scrolls all go so that when it comes back, everything will go. Even this, if you look, if you take this and you kept going, you would come around to the root. You don't want something here sticking out, like this flower sticking out this way. You want it to look nice and flowing. So this is a root, and that's where it starts from. How's that?
Sometimes the realities of broadcast scheduling means that we have to leave great footage on the cutting room floor. This next piece is an example of that.
I'm Connie Cox. I'm the lead interpretive naturalist here at Itasca State Park, and we're actually standing at the beautiful site known as Peace Pipe Vista. And here at Itasca, my main job is to educate people about the beauty of Itasca. So we do educational programs from campfires, walks, talks. I just like working with the Friends of Itasca, helping them make Itasca a better place.
Take one table and one of you take another one. Sure. You can take that one back there. And you're going to put your rod together. You won't have any trouble doing that. Right. Have you done much fishing? a little. You'll be all right.
Yeah, there, see those ones actually a twist.
When I'm working with the Friends of Itasca, I do attend their board meetings. So sometimes people say those are really boring board meetings, but actually not with the Friends of Itasca, because all of them have a passion and a love of Itasca. So we might be planning future projects. They might be making suggestions. For example, they realize the need for fishing. And they said, you know, Lake Ozawindib is a great lake, but there's nowhere where people can fish. And so in those board meetings, they plan, how can we help the park? Can we raise money to help pay for part of a fishing pier? And they did. They paid for half of a fishing pier at Lake Ozawindib. And it's awesome going down there and seeing dads and moms and kids now fishing on Lake Ozawindib where in the past they couldn't.
But if you're fishing trout or some other finicky fish like bonefish, you got to really set that hook just right, just not too soon, not too late.
And when you're sitting in that board meeting and you're seeing them saying, where can we help you? But then they start telling stories about when I was a kid fishing on, and it's just this wonderful camaraderie.
If they're still flipping, they'll be okay.
It's this wonderful sharing of experiences on Itasca, but it's also this goal and vision for the future.
There's something after it. There's something after it. Okay, so here, it's better to do it just with one hand. I know the other boy is doing it with two, but let me just do this for you. Well, that's what they are here. The big ones are out farther. So get to fly out that far. Now watch it and get ready.
And making Itasca better for the park visitors and for the park itself.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one. Now that's a real bluegill, right? I mean, as opposed to an unreal bluegill. You're gonna have a little trouble getting it off, I think. I see a buried hook.
The Friends of Itasca have helped us in other ways as well. Oftentimes we have programs such as the family fishing Fridays and Mondays, or we do fly casting programs.
Okay, Jackson, come over here. I'm going to give you the motion by doing it with you. You hold the rod, you hold the line under your finger. Attaboy. Just one hand, you don't need two. I'm going to make the motion. This is the motion you're going to have to duplicate. Watch the line. Look left, look right, look left, look right.
But sometimes we can't get replacement equipment, such as tackle. And you need tackle if you want to catch a fish. You need bait, live bait, if you want to catch a fish. And so the Friends of Itasca, through their fundraising, they help us get replacement tackle. They help us with paying for the presenters if they're training or teaching someone a skill.
And it just has to click on. Just take that if you would.
The Friends of Itasca, they don't just do interpretive programs. It's not just about paying for musicians or teaching fly casting. They believe in preserving our resources as well.
Fly rods come anywhere from 6 feet to 15 feet long. Standard fly rod is 9 feet long. This is a 5-weight, which means that the weight of the line is a 5-weight line.
And they help us just buy something as simple as a container of night crawlers. But it's important, and we are teaching the next generation about the joys of fishing, and they're a part of that.
If I bend the rod this much, the fly's not going to go anywhere. But if I bend it back like this, it's going to go. So the analogy would be like a bow. If you pull the bow back this far, the arrow's not going to even get to Scott. If you pull the bow back this far, it's going to go a long ways. So you have to make the fly rod bend.
You never know how their actions are going to help reach out to other people visiting our park and what that person might be going through, and how you help them through this beautiful setting around us, but also what other recreation we can provide to make it meaningful.
What I want you to watch, stand over here, Henry. What I want you to watch is not the fly line, but just my hand and my wrist. That's the motion.
Thanks so much for watching. Join us again on Common Ground. If you have an idea for Common Ground in North Central Minnesota, email us at legacy@lptv.org or call 218-333-3014. To watch Common Ground online, visit lptv.org and click Local Shows. To order episodes or segments of Common Ground, call 218-333-3020. Production funding of Common Ground is made possible in part by First National Bank Bemidji, continuing their second century of service to the community. Member FDIC. Closed captioning is made possible by Bemidji Regional Airport, serving the region with daily flights to Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. More information available at bemidjiairport.org. Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money by the vote of the people November 4th, 2008. If you watch Common Ground online, consider becoming a member or making a donation at lptv.org.